So I made a video like a month ago or two, and I was saying I want to start highlighting people that are doing things in the community. Because as a realtor, one of my goals was to do things in the community. I do a toy drive, but I want to do more. So I met you. Your name's Jameelah.
Jameelah Hanif.
And I met you at a paint and sip that I threw with your cousin.
Casey.
Casey, yep. And a lot of people know her in the Vallejo area and around the Bay Area as far as the artists. I knew you was doing something that I've been seeing you on Instagram. I'm like, man, wait a minute, she's doing a lot of stuff, right? Ooh. So I saw you the other weekend at Juneteenth. Let's start there. How did that come about?
Juneteenth. So I was the MC for Vallejo's Juneteenth, and that was just a great experience. I mean, you have to put in an application for that. They were looking for an MC. I was like, I think I could do this. I've stood up in front of people. I know how to engage people, keep people laughing, just be myself.
Okay.
And I provided an opportunity. It was a great experience.
So the kids there, do you work with those kids outside of Juneteenth, or do you just kind of met them there? Like the girl who spoke, I can't think of her name, but she did a couple good speeches.
That's my niece.
Oh, that's your niece? Okay.
Yeah, Rain Oler.
Yeah, she was putting it down. Mm-hmm. I got it on video somewhere. I posted it actually in my stories. I thought that was energizing to me.
Yeah, so that's my niece. She's 5 years old. I instilled in her the importance of public speaking. Had her recite a poem or memorize a poem called Hey Black Child. She's a 10th elite. So I'm like, yeah, you're going to participate in this oratorical fest.
How old was she?
When she first started, she was 4 years old.
Woo! She was commanding the stage.
Yeah, she don't play.
Sure. What inspired you to get involved in community work?
Born and raised in Oakland, and there's a lot of things that I've experienced in the communities, in the household, at school. I remember the first thing was I ended up returning back to Oakland to support one of the kids that I knew, and I saw how filthy it was. So this was in the lower bottoms, and it was trash. I'm like, man, I grew up down here. Like, was it like this when I was living here? And you're not even paying attention. You're adapting, you know?
Right.
So I wanted to do something about it, and I always wanted to do a community cleanup. And then I ended up establishing a family home child care. It's been a blessing, getting to know the children, the families in the program, and doing what I can to support them, which then pushed me to establish a nonprofit to help with children and families and providing resources.
What is the name of your nonprofit?
Watch Me Grow Inc.
Watch Me Grow Inc. Okay. You said that the cleanup project, you never got to do it in Oakland, so did you ever get to do it?
Yes. So about 2 years ago, seeing how certain things, trash and everything, and Vallejo had this Adopt a Block program. So I reached out to them to see how I can adopt a block in my area, which is in College Park. And then somebody else reached out to me like, hey, Jameelah, my daughter wants to do the cleanups. We saw how active you had been in the past with one of the council members, and we want to do it. And so led that with them. It was youth led. And we brought out like 60 volunteers every month, once a month in Vallejo, different areas of Vallejo.
Okay, so just not College Park, so all over Vallejo?
We went everywhere in Vallejo.
Nice.
Yep.
It's funny when you do things like that, how people come and help and support. And I've been doing the toy drive really just out of our own pocket, We did it, but last year we wasn't, we had some stuff. We had about $4,000 worth of toys between me and him and a few donations we had got. And then someone just showed up. And they had about $10,000 worth of toys in their truck. And I just couldn't believe it, but it just gave me faith. Like, it always
works out, guys.
This works out. She was like, we found you on Eventbrite, and we got, it was a minivan full of trucks. But when you said that people came out to support, it reminded me of that. What would you say is a project that you're super proud of, that or initiative that you've done, that you've been involved in?
August 10th. From 11 to 3 at City Park, we'll have our 4th annual community resource fair.
Okay.
So the resource fair is to raise awareness about ACEs, about adverse childhood experiences, and we bring out a lot of different community-based organizations throughout the Bay Area, because we have people that come from Oakland, from San Francisco, to share the resources that they have to support families, the children, the community, from job placements, mental health, various areas where people are impacted and need support. And we also do a backpack giveaway and school supplies. So backpack and school supplies.
I think I saw that on your page, the backpacker. I didn't see the other one. So that's all at the same time? Well, those are two. Okay, so August 10th.
August 10th.
Right before school starts.
Right before school starts.
Yeah, that's dope. That's super dope. You said ACEs stand for
Adverse Childhood Experiences.
How do you determine what's the pressing issue for you that you want to advocate for, like the one for the the children, or the backpacks, or how do you put that together and figure out? Because it is so many different things that we could do to help, because it's a lot of things that touch the community.
It is. One thing I do is stay in my lane. Okay. Stay in my lane. I know my purpose. I know everything I do, I'm walking in my purpose.
Okay.
So I think about things that I've experienced and what resources I needed that would have helped me during those times. So I was that kid that grew up in poverty. I was that kid that had parents struggling with, depression, anxiety. I was homeless at a point in time. Incarcerated father. So I think about that piece. There's a lot of kids out here like me, that experience things I experienced as a child, but what can we do to intervene or prevent these things from happening? So I do what I can to be a problem solver. I'm not somebody that complain, none of that. Oh, I see a problem. If it has to do anything with children and families, there are solutions that are out here. Somebody got to do something about it. So I stay in my lane. If it has to do with children and families, that's what I do.
And it's relatable to you.
Yeah.
I actually grew up in Chicago.
Oh, it's my daddy too.
Oh, did he? Okay. Yeah, so I grew up in Chicago to the age of 12.
Okay.
And then I moved to Oakland. Now I grew up with my grandparents, so I grew up. I knew who my parents were. I had seen my dad. I had seen my mom. It's like an event, when you see him, right? But I did eventually at 12. I moved here with them.
Okay.
So I experienced a lot of adversity here. My mother was a heroin addict and methadone. And man, you know where Old Man Park is? It's not called Old Man Park no more. Or maybe it is. But I was like in the 90s where it was Housewives right there in Old Man Park. We used to sleep in cars there. I remember going to school, washing up at the hotel downtown, brushing my teeth in the hotel lobby sink, and going to school. I remember kids found out, oh, Cortez, you homeless? I'm like, damn, I've stopped going to school, So I definitely, that's very relatable. So you're a good person to know, because that's right up my wheelhouse. But I will say, even then, it was always something or someone who said something to me or gave me some type of message, Or I got a meal, whether it's Tuesdays and Thursdays we eating at this church, Wednesday and Friday we eat. It was like we made it somehow. So it's good that we have people like you that's putting stuff like that together, because you never know.
You never know. I thank God for the resources. That's what I thank God for.
Yeah, no, seriously. I'm very thankful for him too. I remember I had an ex-girlfriend reach out maybe about 6-7 months ago. I knew when we lived in Oakland, and she had called me on the Instagram, and she was just shocked. She was like, dude, I'm so happy. I'm thankful where I'm at. But she said where we was then, she just never thought that I would make it through that. So it was from resources. What challenges have you faced in your community work? I know it's politics and all type of stuff that's going on, just like everything else.
That's funny.
So I'm sure you've had some challenges. Do you have a place, a venue in Vallejo?
I don't. I tried. I need support. If I had a building, so right now I'm in a space at the Youth Achievement Center. So grateful for them for allowing us. Nope.
No, where?
In the Crest. It's in South Vallejo.
Okay.
Oh man, it's a safe area. Got a basketball court in the back, have a garden in the back. We just did a gardening day where we taught the kids, thanks to Sustainable Solano and the Youth Achievement Center.
Okay.
And LCA. But we had like 20 kids and taught them how to plant some food, some seeds and everything to grow some food, which is important. But I don't have my own facility. I would love to have a Watch Me Grow Child and Family Development Center. And it's going to come.
It is.
It's going to come. Challenges that I face, I think people see my passion for what I do. Like I said, it's my calling to do it. God is going to provide every need that I have to be able to reach everybody that I need to reach, everybody that assigned to me, whatever. People, I don't know, they think that I'm, I'm just, I get some funding from people somehow. I don't know what they're thinking. So it's a lot of little hate and stuff around that, but it's like, I'm out here doing the work.
Right.
I'm doing the work.
You're doing the work. You're out there. I see it. I see it just from. I'm going through your Instagram page. Check. I'm like, oh man, she been doing all types of stuff. Sneaker. You have a shoe thing.
We did I was pushed to do a sneaker, a toy drive. The previous years, I would partner with people to do the toy drive, but then somebody was like, Jameelah, do your own. That was our first time doing it. 2 weeks. We had a full park, a lot of shoes, toys.
If you build it, they'll come.
Yeah.
That's good, man. We talked about challenges. We didn't really talk on like how did you overcome them, but we did. You stay in your lane and you know what you're doing this for, you know. So you don't get weathered by people that may have a little hate or envy and things like that. How do you engage and motivate others, you know, to participate? Just like, I mean, we brought it up earlier. You had people with the kids, 60 kids. So is it just you just start the project and see what happens, or what are you doing to motivate others?
That's a good question. I do. I inspire. And it just happens, you know, I just inspire people. I push stuff out on social media. That's what I do. Nobody else gonna promote stuff and everything. You gotta do it for yourself sometimes, and that's okay. And so people see what I do, and a lot of people like, oh man, I wanna do something. It may not be what I'm doing, but they see the influence I have, and they know I can help them with making it happen. So I'm okay with that. Anybody coming for advice or come on, let's team up. You know, you could push this through this way. You could do this way. And it all works out. It does. But the first thing I do is you got to be trauma informed. So I'm sharing about ACEs for people so people know why I do what I do. There's 10 ACE indicators. There's actually more that was added, but I've experienced all the 10 ACE indicators. And so people should really look up what those indicators are. They're serious. And I thank God for resilience. And so people see what I do. They're inspired by it. They have a story to tell themselves. Like I have somebody on our team that was a teenage mom. And so I'm working with females that has been teenage moms and everything. It's like, we need teenage mom programs. That's something you could push out. That's a need, you know? So, and it's nothing nobody is doing right now. I don't see nobody doing it we have like Black Infant Health and everything. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
So the 10 indicators.
Yep, 10 ACE indicators. It was the CDC and Kaiser. They conducted a study on 17,800 of their HMO members. So these are people that middle class, college, or white people in Southern California. And so they wanted to know what was going on with them. There were a lot of them that had chronic illnesses. They were dealing with obesity, certain risky behaviors, like what's going on. They created this questionnaire, 10 questions. If you've experienced this between 0 and 18. 3 categories: abuse, neglect, and dysfunctional household. Within those categories are subcategories. So abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, neglect, emotional neglect, physical neglect. Dysfunctional household, loss of a parent due to death, divorce, abandonment, or separation. Having somebody in the household that is incarcerated or just an incarcerated family member. Having somebody in the household that's mentally ill, suicidal, or depressed. Having somebody in the household that's a substance abuse user, alcohol or drugs. And also witnessing domestic violence. So if you have 4 or more of those indicators, you are at a higher risk of having a chronic illness, heart disease, lung disease, cancer. But they have to be addressed, right? So while I'm so big on it as an early childhood educator, these ACEs, a lot of people don't think that kids stress. So you have these kids between the ages 0 and 5, 90% of the adult brain is developing. People don't know that. So everything that this child is experiencing between 0 and 5 is going to affect them lifelong. So what are the positive environments that we can create for them? How can we remove any kind of risk factors that will result in these adverse childhood experiences? Parents need support. We can't transform the lives of children without transforming the lives of their parents. Parents need to know what we can do to create these safe environments for our children. How can we then get the community to really understand the importance of we need to create safe environments for these children? We need to push and go through legislators. Like, how can we pass some bills or some, where we can get funding, some policy changes like this is a policy. If I was writing bills and everything, oh man, if you're pregnant, you are mandated to take some parenting class. You gonna have this baby? You need to know what you're doing.
We don't know what we're doing when we have them. We kind of just go through it and learn as we go. I think making it mandatory would be good. Just give you some food for thought, so you can, when things come your way, you be prepared. I had read this book called The Yale Free Parent, and it really woke me up a lot.
Yale Free Parent.
I'm like, whoa, the Yale Free Parent, and it give you parenting tips, you know, and basically it's like, look, if you yelling, man, you reacting, and you ain't been really, let's just be honest, you haven't been on top of it, because if you were, you wouldn't be yelling, you know, and it was like an eye opener to me, because I was yelling at my son a lot.
You grew up in a household where you were yelled at?
Yeah. Yeah, I grew up in a household I was yelled at. Shit, when you said all those things, I was like, oh man, I'm damaged.
You funny. No, that ain't what it meant.
I was like, they looking at it on the camera. They like, oh, this dude, they can see it in my eyes. I was like, oh. It was like, wow, you know. Yeah. That's why I'm the way I am. But yeah, I was yelled at. I witnessed domestic violence. I witnessed domestic violence at a pretty high scale, you know, and I had realized in my early adult life that I was doing the same stuff. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being vulnerable and transparent.
Yeah, look, now we in therapy, but it is, because the stuff that happens to you as a kid, it does, if you don't deal with it. That's the thing. Like, honestly, I'm 45. I had a fist fight January 2nd of this year.
That's funny. I
had a fender bender. And I was pissed. You know, I hit the dude, and it was all good. He was like, oh, yeah, no, it's cool, bro. You know, I'm good. And then he got on the phone with his girl, and she was like, get it. I'm like, get your, what? And so I lost it. And I fired on dude, you know. I was pissed, because I'm like, bro, you like on some real bitch shit right now. And he hopped in the car. He tried to drive out. I punched his window. And I hopped in the car, and I started, like, chatting. And I'm like, wait a minute, what the fuck? I was like, okay, I've lost control. And I went home, and I'm like, man, I'm pissed off. So I reached out to a therapist, you know, so
good for you.
Yeah, so that's something I've been promoting it too on social media. It's trying to knock down the stigma, because really it's just somebody to talk to get it off, and then he gives you some collective tools to work, you know. But
do the work.
But the next one is childhood trauma. We kind of did the anger, and he's like, bro, you're doing good with that. Let's move on to the next. So
ask him if he know about ACEs.
I am.
So when y'all doing this childhood, so another thing, really, shout out my brother DB Bedford. I'm an emotional intelligence consultant. A lot of people don't understand how much trauma really impacts your emotional development, especially in children, right? So if you have this child that's growing up in this environment where all they seeing, what they're exposed to, that's what they learning. They learning how to yell, they learning how to scream. I had a little kid in my child care that would come in every day, and he would go straight to this one girl and like hit her all the time. I'm like, what is going on? And I asked the mom, hey, is everything going on okay at home? Like, is everything okay? She's like, yeah. I'm like, because he coming in here and he's hitting this girl. Oh, he just like her. No. We're not doing that. We're not teaching the kids that when a man hits you or somebody hits you that they like you. No. Come to find out, she was in a domestic violence situation. And he's witnessing all of this, and he's witnessing they acting it out. So when these kids are playing in these little dramatic play areas and they acting stuff out, they only can act out what they see.
Yeah, facts.
That's it.
Facts. I think that the narrative has changed for the newer kids. Like they calling the parents out on their stuff. You know, like I've been called out, and I'm like, this is something I've learned too. Is like, sometimes we do think we're doing the best we can. We're not realizing what we're doing, even though it's just our personal life it's affecting. Because my dad, I mean, he was, man, I don't know, man. I'm finna show my age again, but it was a movie called War of the Roses. Okay. And this was the ultimate domestic violence movie. And these people was crazy, man. And I swear my dad and them, I used to be like, who, to argue all day is insane to me.
Oh,
that's
man.
What they say, that's nasty work. Like, who got the time?
It's mental illness. That's
And I start, arguing and stuff, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is.
But because you think that's what it is, you think it's normal.
That's what you've learned.
Yeah. So a lot of us think certain things, a lot of dysfunction is normal until we experience something different or see something different, and we're like, oh man, like, your body feel different. But the body never forgets the things that we've experienced. We have these implicit biases. We have this community of self. So everything we see, things we hear, we smell, all those senses that stuff, our body does not forget that. So you could be somewhere and you hear something that sounded like something, or somebody said something, or a tone they use, and that could be a trigger for you.
Spark it up, yep.
Yeah. A smell, anything.
Song.
Yep.
Yep.
I just appreciate you being vulnerable and transparent. I'm telling you. So I'm about to bring my Bounce Back Wednesday back. I'm about to rebrand my whole podcast, but I will bring people on to talk about ACEs. Like,
so you said your brother, emotional. Is that I Never Worry?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm friends with him on Facebook.
Yeah,
I be seeing him on the news.
My mentor.
Oh, that's he seemed like a good guy.
He is. He pushed me. He was like, girl, you got a gift. Like, you need to be out here doing this. So he is somebody that's pushed me. My speaking engagements and all that. He's one of the mentors that have pushed me.
You know, that's dope, man. That's dope. I'm glad that you're here, because that's one of my goals, is to eventually speak and tell a story, because I do have one, and a lot of people do. I think that's where I try to figure it out. That is a goal, but I'm focused on real estate right now. I feel like the story will be a lot better as I continue with my real estate journey, because now it's like, look at me. All right, so I mean, you've already described a time when your efforts had a significant impact on the community, because we're already talking about all these things, but is it something that just stands out in your head? I know we talked about the teen mothers and things, but is it something that happened and it just stands out with you?
I think about the youth. Like when you were asking earlier about what inspired me, what I can share is that, and I shared this before, I grew up in Oakland, in West Oakland. I went to school at Washington Elementary School, and I went to Emory High School, Emory Middle School, Emory High School. So my mom didn't want us going to any schools in Oakland. But I grew up in Lower Bottoms. I knew everybody. I had older siblings. I was the basketball player, so I was a serious tomboy. I got along with everybody. And I remember at Emory, we had a recreation center, but I wasn't one of the kids that could afford to attend, but all my friends did. And I thank God for Mr. Malachi, because he was the site director of the recreation center and the youth programs. And I remember him taking me on a field trip to Marine World. All I had to do was bring $20. Great America.
Okay.
It was my first time experiencing Great America. I mentioned Marine World because I see what I do now for our children, where last summer I had a 6-week summer program, Ignite the Spark. Oh my God. We had like 60 kids in that program. It was crazy. And I was putting all my own money into it. I got a little bit of support.
Okay.
But you feeding all these kids, 50 plus kids a day, breakfast and lunch, and you doing these activities with them, that stuff costs. We went to Marine World. I bought all the kids Marine World passes. It was their first time there, and they really enjoyed it and had a great time.
And they gonna remember that.
They remember it.
Impact. Yeah.
They remember it. My little niece, she was like, oh man, I remember my first time here was with Auntie Mimi.
So you are impacting them, and it's called?
That was Ignite the Spark.
Ignite the Spark.
Ignite the Spark program.
How can others in the community get involved and help you with your movement? What can they do?
They can check out our website first, watchmegrowinc.com, WatchMeGrowinc.com. Look at all the different programs we do. Look at the things we've done in the past. There's a lot of things that were piloted that had to stop because we didn't have the funding sources that we can end up rolling again. So with the support of everyone, donating somehow, donating time, dropping our website and other places on your social media.
Sharing is caring.
Yep, sharing. That's important. So they can reach out that way.
I had a really good time. I learned a lot about you. I learned a lot about myself. I started being in here confessing and stuff. So I'm done with therapy today. I'm going to put off therapy till next couple weeks. But yeah, I enjoyed it, and thanks. And you're the first guest that I've had in a long time for the community segment I want to do. You're the first one, so I'm happy. I'm super excited.
Thank you.
And I'm ready to get some more people in here, because the energy, hey, we all we got. That is dope.